Bermuda braces as Hurricane Ernesto powers through the Atlantic. Bermuda on Friday, today, bracing for the arrival of hurricane conditions as Ernesto, now a Category 2 storm, moved through the western Atlantic. And here are the key things to know about the storm. Ernesto has maximum sustained winds of 100 miles an hour already, enough to make it a Category 2 hurricane, the U.S. National Weather Service says. The storm is expected to pass over or near Bermuda on Saturday, and a hurricane warning was issued early Thursday as the storm drew nearer. Ernesto is not expected to approach the mainland of the United States, thank goodness, but forecasters warned it could cause life-threatening surf and rip currents along the East Coast through the weekend. President Biden approved a declaration of emergency in Puerto Rico, where hundreds of thousands of customers served by the island's utility were left without power when Ernesto moved through this weekend. Bermuda was bracing for 6 to 12 inches of rain and up to 15 inches in some areas, prompting the U.S. National Weather Service to warn of the potential for considerable life-threatening flooding. Ernesto is going to be a wet storm, said Michelle Pitcher, the director of the Bermuda Weather Service. Heavy rain and strong winds are expected to arrive on the island beginning Friday afternoon and lasting through Saturday. The storm has prompted a near-total shutdown of the island's transportation and emergency services. Ferry services were suspended, and bus services were being halted Friday evening. L.F. Wade International Airport will close its doors at 8:30 p.m. on Friday, with officials indicating it will remain shut through Sunday. Both American Airlines and United Airlines have added additional flights to accommodate the surge of travelers seeking refuge on the east coast of the United States. The primary road connecting the airport to the main island will be closed to all traffic from 10 p.m. Friday, further limiting the access. Michael Weeks, Bermuda's National Security Minister, emphasized the urgency of the situation, telling residents, "I urge you to act now, time is running out." Bermuda is a small island in a vast ocean. It's well practiced in dealing with hurricane-force winds, but it has only sustained a direct hit 9 times since 1851, according to NOAA's historical hurricane database. The last storm to make landfall on the island was Paulette on September 14, 2020, knocking down power lines but causing only minimal property damage. The most memorable Bermuda hurricane of the 21st century did not make landfall. Hurricane Fabian instead passed just to the west of the island September 5, 2003, and forcing a quarter of Bermuda's hotels and guest houses to close for repairs. While Ernesto is forecast to be slightly weaker than Fabian, it will take a similar track, moving north and passing over or just west of Bermuda, which will likely push the worst damaging winds and surge right into the island. Ernesto is not expected to approach the mainland United States, but forecasters warned swells and rip currents are likely to affect the East Coast through the weekend. New York office of the Weather Service warned swimmers to stay out of the water. The storm is expected to move off the coast of Canada early next week. This week, Ernesto brought significant rain to Puerto Rico, where up to 10 inches of rain had fallen in some places by midday on Wednesday, the Weather Service said. The storm knocked out power to more than 600,000 customers, and many were still waiting for it to be restored. Early Friday, Luma Energy, which distributes electricity in the territory, said that nearly 250,000 customers were still without power. Excess heat warnings were in place for parts of the island, and forecasters warned people to take precautions and stay safe. This hurricane season is expected to be busy. Forecasters have warned that the 2024 Atlantic hurricane season could be much more active than usual. Alberto, the first named storm of the Atlantic hurricane season, made landfall on northeastern coast of Mexico as a tropical storm June 20th, unleashing heavy rain, flooding, and gusty winds. And Beryl formed a little over a week later on June 28th, becoming the earliest Category 5 hurricane on record. It carved a path of destruction through the Caribbean before crossing into the Gulf of Mexico and hitting the Texas coast. Earlier this month, the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, NOAA, continued its forecast of 17 to 24 named storms this year, an above normal number, and the prediction in line with more than a dozen forecasted earlier in the year from experts at universities, private companies, and government agencies. Hurricane seasons produce 14 named storms on average from June 1st through November 30th. The seasonal hurricane outlooks were notably aggressive because forecasters looked at the start of the season, saw a combination of circumstances that did not exist in records dating back to the mid-1800s. Record warm water temperatures in the Atlantic Ocean and the potential formulation of the weather pattern known as La Niña. La Niña occurs in the Pacific because of changing ocean temperatures, and it affects the weather patterns globally. When it's strong, it typically provides a calm environment in the Atlantic, and this allows storms to develop more easily and to strengthen without interference from wind patterns that might otherwise keep them from organizing. This was from New York Times. It's on DNYUZ. Please leave your comments, and thank you for your support. Finally, support my Patreon account. The daily posts are 5 videos daily, and they are totally different from what I have on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your support and that you find all my content so interesting. You'll find the Patreon account details in the description box below.